Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would love to see you. And welcome to everybody who already knows me well. So for those who aren't used to my live tours, we're going to have 15 minutes of pre-tour chat, and then we're going to go into the tour proper. So let's see who we've got. I've got Lamb waving, of course, so that's good. Lamb's on board, Anne's on board, Tish is on board. Of course, she has to escort Lamb. We've got Pizzazz. Anybody else? 15 minutes crazy talk? Well, yeah, maybe. Hello, Kathy. Lovely to see you. Something very amusing. I've actually picked this spot because there was a lovely horse, pony horse. Just there, I thought, you know what? We'll do that. We'll show pony horse, and then we'll have a little trot. And pony horse trotted off. So it's not quite so exciting. Grand reveal as I expected. So we'll wait for a few more people to come on board. On board good ship Leonie Kent. Hello, Trista. Hopefully everybody has been having a wonderful Sunday. It has been absolutely glorious in Kent. Hello, Leslie. In fact, I had to make sure I didn't overdo it, sitting in the sun, because I would burn. So you can see, got a bit of sun shining like a halo on my back. Hello. So yes, giant butterfly net wouldn't necessarily work. I'm going to wait until we've got 15 on board. I think 15 on board, and then we're going to show you a few things that I wanted to show you. It's showing that I've got 12 on board because I actually need to not be here when I start the tour. So I do hope we get another 3 people soon. Otherwise, it's all going to go the way of the tongue. Hello, number 13. Who's number 13? Who was the 13th joiner? Oh, I thought that might happen. I suddenly realised that if you say something like that, people will leave to be funny. So we went from 13 to 12. Where will I be? Well, you'll find out when I tell you, Tish. You're going to have to wait in anticipation. What was I going to say? Who knows? Yes, I was reading something. It was Facebook. Spend far too much time on Facebook. And there was a chap saying about how, if you're queuing, you should go to look at the goods without making it look like you're trying to push in. Hello, Carolyn. So one of the people said, and what you need to do is make sure that you don't tell anybody what you want to buy, because people being people will actually then buy it before you get there. So if you went, oh, I'd love a sausage roll, I'll go back and wait. The person in front will go, he wants a sausage roll, there's only one left, and eat the sausage roll, or buy the sausage roll and maybe not eat it, just taunt you with it. Hello, Mike. Welcome. Welcome to this wonderful day in Kent. Hopefully you've all been enjoying super weather. Hello, Tricia. Nice to see everybody. It's going to be a glorious tour today. I know we've got at least Linda that can't join us today because she's pretending to be a 1-year-old at a party. I'm not sure if she watches the pre-live pack. Hopefully so. So we're up to, oh, we've got 13 on the nose, as it were. Been doing some weeding today, so I hope my wrists are actually going to last holding the gimbal. I'll show you in a minute the things that are expanding throughout my garden at the rate of knots, which is rather frustrating. Up to 14, and I'll be honest, it's just, quite frankly, the excitement is palpable. How is the weather for you? A lovely weather in London and Amsterdam. Yes, I think, to be fair, it's going to be a bit of a heat wave. next week. Right, it's on 15. Quite frankly, that's enough for me, because I said I would turn the camera around when it reached 15. It's reached 15. It might go back down, but there you are. Now, there's where the beautiful pony horse pony was. Has now trotted off. But what is it I wanted to show you? Who knows? That was then, this is now. So you can see these. I mean, I've picked one with a bit of bird poo on, which is obviously delightful. But these were growing up throughout my garden, and unfortunately I've had to pull them all up because they are part of the lily family. Yellow flowers. Ah, look, I knew there was one that I was a better one to look at. And you can see they're quite impressive. Okay, aramaculatum, or whatever. Ooh, I'm afraid it's gone. It had to go. And loving the little burst of poisonous cats, exactly, Leslie. That's why. I mean, anything to do with the lily family is toxic. This one is rather gorgeous as well. And what I was saying is, it's this sticky little monster. Literally, it's everywhere. I mean, I'll be honest, the back garden is looking shocking. But I am trying bits and pieces. Now, what I wanted to say after we'd seen our beautiful pony horse is how this is really important. So please do not feed the horses. Although it may seem harmless, your kindness may kill. Hi, Laurie. Really important. And it's not just important for horses. It's also important for our little furry friends. Unless a cat looks like a stray, please don't be feeding it, because could well have data intolerances. Oh, shall I put my teeth in? Like my cats have, and you could cause it issues. And of course, with horses, if you feed it the wrong thing, like for example, people going and feeding them apples, too many apples, depending on their needs. So there's some stables here, and I promise you, there was a wonderful horse. Now, we're only in the pre-live, so don't worry if you're joining now. You haven't missed the Bluebells. I just thought, now, it may be an entirely ridiculous thought, because this is a public footpath. It is very narrow, and there is barbed wire on the side of it. And one knows that putting 1 foot in front of the other, when indeed you're holding a gimbal, can indeed sometimes be a challenge. So I'm guessing it was actually time for the horse ponies tea, or are we actually coming up to see said? You can see through there, through the foliage, there is indeed a creature which is larger than me with a bigger nose. So let's see. The public footpath is what I am walking on, young Tisharoo. Before you look closer at the horse pony. Oh, well, I say. I'm glad my shadow is following me. Oh, pardon you. Hello. It's lovely to see you. You're live on YouTube. Please don't swear. It's a footpath. I can see you're all talking about footbaths. I'm not sure why I haven't unfortunately got time to get my feet washed while I'm here. I'm too busy doing a tour. I'm not sure if this is the same one, but it looks rather similar. And just to show to you how I'm risking my life for you. Oh, marvellous. I'm sorry I missed that. It's just had a poo. How splendid. I turned away to show you, see the pathway slips. No, Dawn, the tour, this is the pre-live. We're just watching a horse poo at the moment. A pony poo. So don't worry, nobody has missed the start of the tour. I just thought as I'm standing here, we'd have a little bit of pony time. We need to obviously name the pony. The pony needs to start with a P. Ideas on a postcard, please. Pete the pony. Potato the pony. Like a magpie Mike. That sounds making me think of Magic Mike now, which is something entirely different. Aren't those markings absolutely fabulous? Plop. Yes, plop came to mind as well, Dawn. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. Poo poo pony. Oh, there is that. That is the song, isn't there? Pink Pony Club. Unfortunately, Caroline Magpie doesn't start with P. So piebald, poopy pony. I'm glad to see. For everybody joining, this is not the Bluebell tour. This is actually me getting a waft of horse poo. We're going to say goodbye to Pete, or Poopy, or whatever you want to call him. Pippa. Oh, goodness gracious. I never actually considered. Maybe it's a lady horse. Hello, MB. Is this MB of Hago fame? I think you might be right. I think it's a lady horse. So, well, if it's a lady horse, it can't be Pete. I think it might have to be Pippa. Anyway, we're going to leave Pippa or Pete while I risk my life to take you to the start, of the tour. We are literally on a public footpath, just going towards Cuckoo Wood. There she is, doing her thing. And it's an epic adventure of me not tripping down a bunny hole, tripping over a tree root, or tripping over my own 2 feet. How's the audio? It is a treacherous path for a klutz. Thank you for noticing, Leslie. But the thing is, I always make sacrifices for you guys. And it's quite a fun little walk. Well, it was a fun little walk when I didn't fall over, so let's hope it'll be a fun little walk coming back. You may also note that those of the taller persuasion would potentially knock themselves unconscious at this part. And of taller persuasion, that would indeed be me. So this is me crouching on the forest floor, and we're going to be... I don't want anybody to panic, but we're being followed. Right. Okay, what do you do now when you're being followed by a pony? Pippa the pony. Right, I'm going to give you that view because it's very ungainly what I'm about to do. It's been lovely seeing you, but we really must get on because it's actually now it's 6 o'clock on the nose, and it's actually time for us to go. So welcome to those of you who are new to my channel. Welcome to those who are returning to my channel. Hello again. Hopefully we're going to see some absolutely splendorous bluebells. We are indeed in Cuckoo Wood, Pendon Heath. Pendon Heath is bordering on Maidstone, and of course we're close to Tunbridge and Malling. And I've managed to get through everybody. So we're going to wave goodbye again to Pippa the pooping pony. She looks in marvellous condition. She's got a wonderful little playground here, I think, but we really do have to go. So let's trot off. Well, MB, we're here, and we're still going strong. I've also, on the way here, I've seen a squirrel and a rabbit, both of which were equally lovely. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a wander around the woods, and I'm going to show you your first look at some beautiful bluebells. I'm not sure if you can hear the bird song, but there's quite a lot of it. And my next obstacle is to take a running jump and launch myself over the fallen tree. Now, what's interesting is, rather sad about this, right, I'm going to be very careful not to tread on any bluebells for reasons I will explain later. That really did go timber, didn't it? And that's an awfully long tree. Now, if you remember, when we came last year, there was chat on a quad bike, and high five to me for remembering what it was called, as I remember I struggled at the time. And you can see, unfortunately, tar marks. So about half of the world's bluebells are actually found in the UK. So at this time of year, there are some absolutely wonderful walks where you can see what looks like carpets of bluebells. And I'm going to be turning left in a moment, because I'm not sure if you're going to hear. Ah, well, this is interesting, and I confess I don't know what this is, but it's obviously some sort of venue, and you can see there's lots of teepees, yurts, whatever you call them, and there's a large marquee. I shall try and remember to do a bit of digging so I can find out what it's used for, but It's beautiful, beautiful sight. Well, we're going to be talking about English and Spanish varieties very shortly, Leslie. I'm just going to try and find a good place to walk down without killing myself, because of course I didn't want you to miss this. So I just think it's rather lovely. However, it is a little bit steep to get down, so I will probably not talk while I do so, as I do not wish to go splat. However, there's no guarantee. I may well continue to talk. A glamping wedding site. Mike, no spoilers. Hello, Sue. There we are. Isn't that lovely? I don't know, obviously you're not here in person, as it were, but I have the sound of birds, the sound of water, and a view of bluebells. It's really quite wonderful. And this, which is either a B, a P, or a key. I think that perhaps if you find the key and you turn that lock, you have everlasting life. And thank you so much again for somebody recommending that I actually go through underneath the bridge. I am still not going to be doing that. And what I'm going to do is try and get you a nice reflection shot. Dear Rosie, this was not a prepaid tour. If it was a prepaid tour, I would still not provide a refund for not going through the tunnel. I can hear people. So we're going to be moving on in a minute, and we're going to be going back to our bluebells, but just giving you some last views of the bridge. It looks fairly clear. But I wouldn't necessarily want to drink from it. Right, we're going to make our way up that way. Might actually be easier to get up. If I was fitter, it would have been. And we're on the other side. We have peoples. Still here. Thank you if you are enjoying the video, as Leslie says, we'd be grateful if you could like the video, and of course, if indeed you're able to, would very much appreciate a tip, and my links are in the pinned chat. Well, Laurie, I may not walk again tomorrow. I wonder if that stick will move down at some point. Now, why is it so important, apart from morally, to be careful around bluebells? In 1981, the Wildlife and Countryside Act made it against the law to intentionally pick, uproot or destroy bluebells. And in 1998, they added to this and made trading in wild bluebell bulbs and seeds an offence. So landowners are not allowed to remove bluebells from their land to sell. Digging up the plant and the bulb is prohibited. It's meant to stop bad people supplying garden centres, whether or not, of course, people do what people do. However, I think it's really important when you're walking around Bluebell Woods is to make sure your dogs are on the lead, because just trampling these flowers can cause a lot of damage. Now, colonies take a long time to establish. It can be 5 to 7 years from seed to flower, and it can take years to recover after damaged. Now, if leaves are crushed, they will die back from lack of food, as they can't photosynthesize. So it is very sad when walking around the woods and seeing that people have gone off trail, or in the instance where we had the chap on the quad bike last year, crushing and damaging these flowers. Now, they've also been called cuckoo's boots, a wood hyacinth, lady's nightcap, crow toes, and my favourite, which is witch's thimbles. Now, there is a bit of a rumble where we are, and that's because we're actually not that far away from the M20 motorway. So it's wonderful that despite, no doubt, all the pollution that comes from the motorway, that we still have a wonderful forest and the bluebells. And I think I might be at my happiest wandering round a wood. I was trying to think what I would miss the most. If you had to give up the beach or the woods, what would you choose to give up? Nobody panic, it's all fine. And apart from Mr. Sticky Sticky, We've got a lot of moss around here as well, which is literally so soft. Fran couldn't give up the woods. Dawn would give up the beach. Rosie loves the wood. And Pizzazz would give up the beach. So it looks like I'm not alone. Kathy would give up the beach. Or is she saying the beach? She wants the beach. I do like a nice view and the sea crashing against the sand or the pebbles. Carolyn says the woods are her happy place. Hello, Cheryl. And we have some blossom. Now, interestingly enough, my apple tree has got the most amazing amount of blossom this year, which I think may mean that I'm going to be overwhelmed by apples. I will no doubt end up with some sticky bits and bobs all over me. Well, we're going to be talking a bit later about the folklore relating to bluebells. What have we here? No, I'm sure it's not Mike, Leslie. Interesting. A mole or ants? I would have expected if there are ants, we would have had some ants move out. I had one of these on my garden. I mean, I'll be honest, if somebody pops their head out of this, the tour will end and I will have died of fright. A mole, a hole, or a vole? Well, actually, it is certainly something, because actually, if you look closer, you will see there are a lot of these hairs. So I'm thinking probably mares. Hello, Mr. Moley. We wouldn't expect any ants to come out of a molehill, no. Oh, hold on, Mike's pointing to flowers. It's not pointing at all. These are lesser celandines, or celandines, or lesser cauliflowers. But let's get back to the bluebells. Ah, yes, these are rather lovely as well. Oh, those are unfortunately the lesser spotted pair of glasses. And my microphone. Nobody panic. There's also the letter spotted woofer dog. His name is Oscar. Celandines. Thank you. Oscar is chill. It's like Pippa. But I want to see the crazy lady in the woods, Mummy. She's talking to herself. So, the bulb, contains mucilage and inulin, which was used as a glue for fixing feathers and arrows and for bookbinding. And the Elizabethans used the starch-like juice from the bulb to stiffen their fancy rough collars. And by rough, I mean R-U-F-F, not as in that's a bit rough. Now, legend says 13th century monks used it to treat snake bites and leprosy. However, there's a bit of a rub here because the bulb is poisonous. So it's either kill or cure. The bulbs have diuretic properties, which means it increases urination, and styptic properties, and that helps stop bleeding. So they're currently looking into its animal and insect repellent properties, and also there's the possibility that certain extracts could be used to treat HIV and cancer. Now, there was a belief that bluebells were used in witches' potions, but tell me why that might not be true. Holly, my nemesis. Thank you, Mike. Because witches don't exist. It was just a way to persecute older, single ladies. Like myself. Unfortunately, didn't stop at the older. Of course, you do have white witches. Now, it's said if you wander into a ring of bluebells, you will fall under the enchantment of fairies. There's folklore that says bluebells ring at daybreak to call fairies to the woods. However, if anyone hears the ringing of the flower's bell, you will be visited by a malicious fairy and die soon after. So I'm very much hoping we don't hear any ringing today. Now, it said if you turn a bluebell flower inside out without tearing it, you will win the one that you love. Now, I think there's a flaw in that plan. I mean, apart from the absolute difficulty of turning it inside out, I would rather the one that I love me just because he loves me, rather than actually I managed the feat of turning a bluebell inside out and spun a spell. It said if you wear a wreath of bluebells, you will only be able to speak the truth. So I thought to myself, I'm going to contact the FBI and I'm going to tell them that they can do away with their polygraph tests because all they need is a wreath of bluebells. And I think they'd be up for that. And I say FBI because it sounds more exciting to me than Kent Police. Although I love Kent Police when they do a jolly good job. I'm not sure they actually even use a polygraph. For anybody who's watched Love Island, they do use polygraphs there as well to find out whether or not the person who says they love the other person really does love the other person, or if they're actually really only doing it for publicity, fame and money. So I might contact the producers and say, stop wasting your time, get a wreath of bluebells. However, I'm sorry, you can't get a wreath of bluebells because then you are going to be fined a lot of money and you're going to upset the fairies. And that's, of course, one of the fairy houses, if you're wondering where they live. Yes, but MI5 doesn't sound as exciting as FBI. I do indeed have a hoodie from New York, which is NYPD. It's just not the same. I can't see myself wearing a hoodie saying Kent Police on it. Bluebells flower from late March and they start to decline after the first week of May. But of course, no doubt with climate change, everything's going to go all over the place. And this is very interesting. This looks like some sort of strange tree trunk taken over by aliens, but indeed it's just dandelions. RCMP, I'm not sure what that is, but I'm hoping it's something wonderful and exciting. This is where all the cool kids hang out, I'm afraid to say. Now, the other reason I was wondering if that was an anthill that turned out to be Michael the Mole is ants help to spread bluebell seeds, which is rather wonderful of them. I mean, look at this. Isn't this just incredibly annoying? You've got bottles, crisp wrappers, sweet wrappers, chocolate. Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Oh, yes, that sounds good. We'll have that one. Now, bees like bluebell pollen and nectar, and sometimes they're a little bit naughty, and they bite a hole in the flower to get to that goodness. And the thing is about bees, they will not get fined for doing that. They're allowed. So I go round biting a blueberry flower. Well, A, it's not a blueberry flower, it's a bluebell flower. Then I would be breaking the law. And also a little bit odd. Got a little bit of a hole. I watched a film which was set in Sweden. My sister loves disaster movies. So we watched The Abyss, mainly because I was tired and thought I was going to fall asleep and it didn't really matter what we watched. It was set in Sweden and it was all about basically landslips and sinkholes. So having just watched that, walking over that hole, I'm very glad that it hasn't just collapsed with taking me in it. There are a lot of brambles, and of course, that no doubt means that when it's time, there will be a lot of blackberries. I went off picking blackberries when I actually did it and had lots of insects in them. I do apologise, the tree has got its bottom on display. And look at the size of this tree, again, magnificent. And so it goes. Quite an impressive branch, the way it's just trailing down. Now, I promised you I would talk about Spanish and English bluebell. So, of course, the English bluebell, also known as the common bluebell, not that there's anything common about it. Now, unfortunately, the Spanish bluebells are a more vigorous plant and they could take over from the English bluebell. So they were introduced in the late 17th centuries and they happily suit the open nature of gardens, whereas native bluebells do best in dappled shade, provided like in woodland, like we're obviously walking through at the moment. Now, unfortunately, in the last 30 years, they've escaped from gardens. And I like that phrase, so I kept it, because I like to think of the bluebells uprooting themselves, running along the road and nipping to the nearest wood. And the Spanish bluebells are mixing with the English bluebells, and we're ending up with hybrids, because the two species can easily hybridize. I did think of the grey versus red squirrel when I was looking into this. The difference between squirrels and bluebells, hopefully I don't need to explain to you. Now, with the English bluebells, the individual bells are narrow with straight sides and petals which curl at the edges. The stem is curved with most of the bells hanging to one side. So if we look at this lovely specimen here, you can see the curve Spanish bluebells are more cone-shaped and filled with ice cream. No. Spanish bluebells are more cone-shaped and the petals tend to flare rather than curl back. Their stems are more upright with bells hanging all around. And I love that we're talking about bells again. Where's Casey? Now, if the pollen is creamy white, it's probably a native or a hybrid. But if the pollen is green or blue, it's not a native bluebell. Again, more rubbish. So I went to my friend's garden at the weekend and she had some Spanish bluebells. Now, I don't want to alarm anybody, but I think if we said that was a mole earlier, we may have a killer mole. Or it might have been a tree. It's been moved and the land's gone across. Now, native bluebells usually are a deep violet shade. Spanish tend to be paler, and just to cause utter confusion, both come in white or pink. And what I'm going to be showing you is there you can see a beautiful pink, which I saw at the weekend. An exciting spot, hopefully I'm going to take you. And you can see some of the paler bluebells behind. And then we've got the white. Which again, I think the colours are all really gorgeous. And it's interesting because really they are a violet colour rather than a blue. And you could argue that violet is closer to purple than it is blue. But I'm not arguing. The native bluebells have relatively narrow leaves, about 1 to 1.5 centimetres wide. The Spanish and the hybrids tend to have much bigger leaves, about 3 centimetres wide. Now, talking of the way they smell, native bluebells have a strong sweet scent, so would smell wonderful on a warm day, whereas Spanish bluebells have little to no scent. I'm afraid we're coming up again now to a massive merle. The merle is getting out of control. And there's a magpie. Say hello, Mr. Magpie. Mr. Magpie or Mrs. Magpie has flown off. Hello, Ronnie. I'm going to be quiet because this is quite a steep walk, and we've already ascertained that I'm not that fit. Yes, this is a track for kids to hang out and ride their bikes, not for tour guides. Oops. Is it? Oops. And you will see the palette in front of us, which I'm assuming would make a wonderful way to woo. Interesting, that bark seems to have been scraped off, perhaps by a BMX bike knocking into it, perhaps by the massive mole. What kind of trees are those? As I've said on previous tours, the ones that grow, my tree knowledge is non-existent. But I can tell you about different varieties of cat. Which is a nice segue for next weekend's tour, where we'll be meeting Caesar, a beautiful Bengal, and some kittens. They could be pink birch for all I know. Multicoloured birch. And I'm sure you'll all be relieved to know that I've come a different route than I've been before, and I have not a clue where I am. Oops. Except for being in the woods. The good news about these woods, as opposed to the Huckley estate where I got lost, is that there's the M20 on one side and the road my car is parked on the other. So therefore, I only need to go a certain way to actually get back to my car. If I'd put birdseed to follow, I might have attracted all the birds and have them follow me like the Pied Piper. I think we're back to where we were. I think I recognise that tree stump, but I could be wrong. And again, rubbish on the floor. Now, I have taken a video of the bluebells at the Huckley estate, and there's also an absolutely fantastic view. So I'm not sure when I'll share that video with you, but obviously I'll live stream the video. I could call for Pippa. I could be trotting around on Pippa going around these woods, and you'd get a much higher view than you do at the moment. The only problem being that I can't actually ride a horse, and I'm scared of heights, and I don't know who owns Pippa. But apart from that, so this wood is called Cuckoo Wood in Pendleton Heath. And Pendleton Heath has got a very, very dark story. And one day I will take you round the wood, round the heath, and share it. It was the main execution site until executions moved to Maidstone Prison. Dark tales indeed. Now, hopefully you will all recognise the blue rope. And, sadly, the litter. So you can see all the tree roots. That sort of spring out of the forest floor, waiting for unsuspecting people to trip them up. Because when you're a virtual tour guide, you are always looking at the view through your phone. So you need to be rather careful where you walk. And what a different landscape that is. Many, many leaves. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to where we were. And ooh, well, that is a very unhappy tree. That's where the bad fairies live. Has a very different feel to it. I've not seen mould on a tree before. I have, however, seen mould on bread plenty of times, just at the weekend. Mainly when I was looking to make lunch at my sister's. Picked up the loaf of bread. She said, "I'll check it." I checked it, and we did not eat it. Unfortunately, I assume that the mould spores can move from tree to tree and infect them. Again, more BMXing going on round here, I'm sad to say. I'm also sad to say what goes down must come up. This is certainly a workout. I keep bread in the freezer, it lasts even longer, but that's only when it's about to turn. Well, I'm not sure who actually owns and manages the wood. So the Hucking estate is managed by the Woodland Trust, which is a fabulous UK charity that does what it says on the tin. And I'm not entirely sure yes, I don't think it's bread mould, but it didn't look very healthy. I mean, I'm absolutely, when I say I'm not sure, I'm 100% sure it's not actually bread mould, but I do know it's not something that should be there. And sadly, here is a victim of tramplers. Have I visited Lullingston Castle? Yes, I have. Now, I'm hoping at one stage we'll get the opportunity to turn left. There's just one more path I wanted to take you down. Ah, there you go. Marvellous. Yes, indeed, I went there with Lexi, a previous haygoer, and Tammy, a previous haygoer, when Tammy came from America to Kent. It's not far to Castle Farm, where we look at the wonderful lavender. When I was growing up, I wasn't particularly into flowers. And I was thinking about my tours, and I was like, gosh, bluebells, lavender. And the exciting news is I'm going to be taking you to a rose garden. Of course, it won't be exciting if you don't like roses, but hopefully you do. Those of you joining late, I don't make my tours private, so you can watch back. Now, isn't that the fairy house? Goodness gracious. And these are, oh, see? We're just going round in circles. Yes, we have been here. It was a deliberate walk, just because I want to show you that tree trunk. Leonie Gets Lost, part 87. I'll be honest, I think it's a higher number than that, Rosie. Part of the problem is that, as I said, when you're looking at the phone, you're not actually looking at all your surroundings. So when I'm doing a tour in a town, I absolutely know why I am, because the buildings are different, the roads are different. When you're in the woods, trees tend to look the same. Well, when do roses start blooming there? Well, what I did was I've taken a photograph of the different species of roses that there are, so that I can actually check. Some of my, I have roses, and one is in bud at the moment, but obviously they all bloom at different times, and I imagine they've probably done it so that they bloom at different times. But it's actually close to another garden, and I won't give you too much information. Which again has lots of lovely things to look at. And there is the lesser spotted dog poo, which is, I probably didn't need to show you that, to be fair, but you know, I wanted to share the very frustration that people don't respect others, because I'm fairly sure there are no wild dogs in this in these woods. Oops. And I know I'm running over time. Michael is wanting to go on the naughty step. Obviously. I have a fox, and I think he's gifted me several on my front lawn, which is rather splendid. Oh, I seem to have lost the chat. Splendid. I'm not quite sure how that's happened. Oops. I'm going to see if I can get the chat back at all. Oh, there you are. Growling pizzazz. There was a plane just flew over. I can confirm there are no bears in this wood. I just wanted to bring you round this way because there's lots of bluebells, and I just think it's just lovely. Maybe it's my stomach growling. Actually, I'll tell you whose stomach will be growling. It'll be Baloo's. His first tea's at 5 o'clock. His second tea's at 8:30. So, and what is sad is that you can't smell what I can. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, what isn't so beautiful is stabbing myself in the head with this little beauty. And hopefully you can see why I persisted in trying to find this spot. Because it is beautiful. And you can tell there's more of a density of bluebells just from the fragrance in this area. It really is wonderful. That's the joy of live tours, isn't it, Trista? Being able to actually be in the moment. And Molar ants. Oh, and I would be grateful if you could share your photos on my private Facebook group, which is Leonie on Tour, or together virtually. It's Mr. Sunshine twinkling through the trees. So there you are. There you have it. Bluebells at Cuckoo Wood. And thank you to everybody who's liked the video or sent me a tip. I have put my PayPal information in the pinned message. I do have Buy Me a Coffee, and and can take bank transfer. So if you're not able to, I think the majority of people who use Buy Me Coffee already have the link. And I really do appreciate it. It might just seem like you've got a tour guide bumbling around the woods, but actually there is time and preparation put into my tours, as with most of the tour guides that I call colleagues. So the pinned message is actually in the comments, so it's not on the live tour, because what happens is there are two different chats. So if you are watching a video, you have a choice of watching the live chat and actually seeing what was said during the tour, and you can do that by scrolling across the two dots, the left to right. And if you don't want to see what was said during the live chat, you can just keep it on the comments, which is basically anybody can make a comment after the YouTube video has been live streamed. Now then, am I lost again? Yes, possibly. So when I pin a comment, it automatically goes to the comments section, or it should do, or it should go to the live chat, one or the other. But it was definitely there, possibly. So we are nearing verily the end of the tour. My phone is almost completely out of battery, and I'm going the wrong way out of the woods. But I am super glad that I managed to find the spot that I wanted to show you. So we are back to our oh, not again, surely not. I'm not going to do that ridiculous steep descent and ascent. I'm going to do this one. Because otherwise I will not be walking tomorrow. So for those of you that came for the Bluebells, that section has ended. This is now just walking with me while I find my way back to where I need to be. You are more than welcome to stay, and I know some of you will. If you have other things to do, feel free. Trouble is, I get engrossed in the chat and I miss my turn-offs. I'm glad you enjoyed Pippa, Tish. Hopefully you enjoyed the Bluebells too. Oh, Ronnie, definitely do catch the beginning of the tour. We start by horsing around, boom, boom. I am fairly certain that I actually took the wrong turn last time I came here when I left. So unfortunately, I am now having 100% success rate of getting lost in Bluebell Forest woods. I remember now the turns very well. I just would rather have remembered the turns that I don't need to take, that I do need to take. I'm glad it's restful, Dawn. you have a very it's rather warm, shall we say. There are some wonderful birdies. Hopefully you remember the yellow. Very, very vibrant. And I am very glad to be able to say that I'm nearly making my way out of the woods. We have the fencing on the right, and it's quite some view. And I'm not sure if you just heard that, but that indeed is a car. And there indeed is the road. And I have safely, oops, spoke too soon and tripped, safely made it out of the woods alive. So you will see slightly flushed cheeks from the exertion. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you next weekend when we will meet Caesar the Bengal and some beautiful little kitten mittens. I've now gone, 20 minutes over. It's not a record potentially, but it's very close if it isn't. So lots of love, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.